NXT, NXT, NXT. Hey everyone, Chevy here and welcome back to episode number 4 of our SWE NXT Universe mode. Great night for you this evening, including crowning our first North American champion. And here is our opening match of the evening, the last of the first round of the NXT Title Tournament matches. Tommaso Ciampa takes on Kevin Owens. And here he is. Very happy with this Tommaso Ciampa core, actually very, very good. Was uploaded within a few hours of the game being released, so you can't moan too much. I mean, should he be on the game? Of course he should be, but at least we've got someone good enough to use, eh?
266 pounds.
And here he is making his return to NXT. It's Mr. Kevin Owens, former NXT champion, looking to win it back here. And here we go. We are underway. Tommaso Ciampa versus Kevin Owens. Both looking to qualify for the next round where the winner will face off against... I can't remember now. Oh, the winner will face off against Johnny Gargano. That would be a big match, especially for Tommaso Ciampa. We know how aggressive he has been in the past with him. But Kevin Owens could be just as dangerous. So it is Ciampa in control at this point in time. Oh, it was for a short period of time until Kevin Owens launches him over the top. Now Owens bringing Ciampa back up to his feet, looking for the German, but oh, Ciampa flips through. So of course Ciampa did, well, he was part of the Cruiserweight Championship tour, wasn't he? The original one, which was pretty cool. Maybe we'll see him again in that Cruiserweight division. I think he's probably progressed a bit too much now to be put on to 205 Live. I think he's a bit ahead of that, but I would not be surprised if Ciampa and Gargano both made their way on the main roster this year, but I feel like the best thing to do would be to keep them separate for now. I think maybe Ciampa move it up onto Raw and Gargano move it up onto SmackDown. Then just slowly build and then maybe try and recreate the feud between them two a little bit later on. Give it a few years to sort of simmer away and then revisit it when they want to. I also think Undisputed Era will move up to the main roster at some point. I think this year's movement, well, I say this year's, next year's promotions from NXT to the main roster is going to be incredibly strong. And I think it's a good thing because NXT is getting so strong now that I think at some point it's going to need a little bit of a reshuffle. I mean, people like, what is Kevin Owens thinking of here? Kevin Owens, frog splash from the top to the outside. And I don't think he quite hit it well because Ciampa was up on his feet before Kevin Owens was, and then gets caught, though, with the reverse DDT. I think this is better this year. We're not going to have as many count-outs, I don't think, this year, are we? Which is fantastic, because that frustrated me. I didn't mind the odd count-out here and there, but sometimes we're getting a bit over the top, wasn't it, really? So, the fact that people are getting back in the ring so quickly now is great, I think. Nice sit-out scoop slam on the outside there by Kevin Owens on Tommaso Ciampa. Of course, these two guys, both alumni from Ring of Honor, which is making one person in the comment section pretty happy, I should imagine. You know who you are. Nice clothesline there by Kevin Owens, just knocking the head of Tommaso Ciampa off. And Owens sending Ciampa back into the ring. Wow, that was almost a... Was that a 9 count or an 8 count? I'm not quite sure how much that was. I've got my telly on mute, so the sound of the game doesn't interfere with the microphone. We've seen this before. The cannonball by Kevin. He almost power driven himself there. I don't think he quite hit that cannonball as much as he wanted to. I think he spiked himself on the ground. First there's a pin by Owens on Ciampa. Only enough for a 2 count. Owens getting closer though to the result he wants. As he stalks Tommaso Ciampa. Into the ropes. Pop up. Powerbomb by Kevin Owens on Tommaso Ciampa for the 1, the 2, and the 3. And Kevin Owens makes his way through to this second round, the semi-finals of this NXT Championship Tournament to face off against Johnny Gargano. Great win there by Kevin Owens. No highlights. Must mean we're going to get some action here then, are we? As Owens goes to leave. And looks like in his head he's changing his mind. Yeah, I think he wants to send a message here to everybody else in this tournament. As Kevin Owens grabs a steel chair. Oh, straight across the chest of Tommaso Ciampa. Wow, Kevin Owens, brutal. And here is our second match of the evening. Andrade Cien Almas takes on Tyler Breeze, 1-on-1. I say 1-on-1, of course, Lena Vega is at ringside. And here he is then, Andrade Cien Almas, making his first appearance in SWE NXT. And it's so great to finally have him on the game. It's going to be a very good year for this guy. And I dare say he's going to be involved in a large portion of all of our universe modes. Very, very strong. And of course, Lena Vega here as well, who, spoiler alert, we have got a wrestling version of now. So do not write off seeing Lena Vega at some point in action. And here is his opponent, of course, Mr. Tyler Breeze. Absolutely fantastic when he was at NXT. He's taken more of a comedy role on the main roster, which is not a terrible thing. It's definitely given him a lot of use and given him a lot of TV time. But in NXT, he really was established as one of the top names. And he's going to hopefully try and recreate that here for us in SWE NXT. And here we go. Someone sends me a message. Here we go then. Massive match here for Tyler Breeze. And I think for Andrade Cien Almas as well, he'll be a little bit disappointed not to be involved in tonight's main event, of course, for the North American Championship. Which I can announce is going to be O'Reilly versus Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream versus Samoa Joe. Now, I know a few of you might mention the fact that Adam Cole's missing from that match, but of course Adam Cole was given the opportunity for the NXT Championship, and I think it's only fair that everyone gets opportunities rather than the same person getting multiple. I'm sure Adam Cole will get a chance to maybe go for that North American Championship at some point. Nice work there by Almas. Like it, Almas. Looking pretty damn cool. So yeah, that's the reason why we've gone for that one. 4 guys. Kyle O'Reilly, of course, he had a chance at the Tag Team Championship, don't get me wrong, but maybe Kyle O'Reilly going for the singles belt might not be a bad idea, and maybe Bobby Fish lining up with Roderick Strong, which I know is something that Jay from Gaming HD has mentioned quite a few times. But I like that idea. Now, just make you aware as well, in our next episode, which will be uploaded for you obviously tomorrow, because we're doing 10 episodes in 10 days at the moment, and we do plan on having both of the NXT Championship semi-finals. So Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn in the first one, and Johnny Gargano versus Kevin Owens in the second one. And then the episode the day after tomorrow, we will crown our first NXT champion when the winners of those 2 matches face off against each other. Also on tomorrow's episode, we are going to crown our first NXT Women's Champion here in SWE, as Shayna Baszler, Sasha Banks, Bayley and Asuka will all collide, which I'm looking forward to that a lot. Although, just a side note, which is probably more of a thing for me than anyone else, but I'm very annoyed to find out that this year, in Creator Match, elimination only counts for tag team and 6-man tag matches. You could not do elimination in singles matches. Because I got really excited when I realised you could have an 8-man singles match. I thought, wow, that's amazing. If we could have an 8-man elimination match via pinfall and submission, that's actually not a bad match at all. And it turns out you can't do that. You can just have a normal 8-man match, which I think on this game would not work at all, because it just wouldn't be able to keep people down for long enough to go for the pin, I don't think. I might be wrong. We might have to give it a try at some point. Might do a random match to see if it works, but for me, I just don't think that's going to work at all, to be honest. We'll see what happens. Hey-ho. Almas now drop kick right to the side of the head of Tyler Breeze, and Tyler's struggling now. Almas just really just forced his foot into the face of Tyler Breeze, just really an insult to injury, and all that's really done is sort of spur Tyler Breeze on. He's back up to his feet now, and I think one of Tyler Breeze's biggest, most memorable matches in NXT was that one, of course, one-on-one against Jushin Thunder Liger, which, who knows, we might get a chance to recreate at some point. We have considered, like we've said, of bringing in legends here and there on this universe mode. I think that's probably going to happen more after the 10th episode, because, of course, we are going to be trying to showcase some of the best available. Showcase some of the best available first, and also make sure we've got all our championships crowned, and then we can start to look to build them people up by giving them matches against legends as well. Nice double knees in the face there by Andrade, Cien, Almas, and Tyler Breeze now drops into the pin. Referee incredibly slow getting down, but the 1, the 2, only a 2 count. And you've got to argue there, if the referee got down a little bit quicker, would that have been a 3 count? I think it's very possible it would have been, you know. But I think Almas has got something else up his sleeve. There we go. There's the DDT, the hammerlock DDT by Andrade, Cien, Almas, and I'd be very surprised, yes, if Tyler Breeze kicked out of that. He did not. And Andrade, Cien, Almas starts his reign of dominance potentially here in NXT. A strong win by him. Tyler Breeze looked okay, but I think Almas just that one step ahead of him. I think Breeze maybe have maybe been a bit of a comedy actor a little bit too long and sort of lost his way a little bit. But hopefully throughout the entirety of this universe, maybe we'll see Tyler Breeze sort of pick himself up a little bit, I think. It was a good bit of work there. I say, if the referee got down quick enough there, that could have been a 3 count. But there was the hammerlock DDT. That was always going to be enough to finish Tyler Breeze off. And there is the pin for the 1, the 2, and the 3 count.
Here is your winner.
So there we go. Andrade, Cien, Almas victorious here in SWE NXT. And he'll be hoping with that victory, he'll be able to get himself into a championship picture pretty soon. Of course, he's a former NXT champion in real life, so he's a bit unfortunate to be included in the championship tournament. However, we will have a number 1 contendership coming up pretty soon, and I dare say he'll be involved in that, especially with a strong victory like this. Well done, Andrade. And here we go then. Here is our next match of the evening, our main event, if you will. It's the NXT North American Championship. We've got Samoa Joe, Velveteen Dream, Kyle O'Reilly, and Ricochet. It's not a bad core of Ricochet. It's not the best we've ever had, but it'll definitely be enough to get us going for now in a fatal 4-way match. And here we go then, Kyle O'Reilly. Somebody who I always want to give a bigger opportunity to, and this is his first chance in this universe mode. He had some good opportunities in SWE Rising. Was probably the most seen guy on SWE Rising in our previous last season in WWE 2K18. And he's going to get another great chance here to become the first SWE NXT North American Champion. Can he pull it off? Here he is, making his first appearance in SWE. The enigma that is the Velveteen Dream. Now, I don't think... We didn't use him at all in WWE 2K18, I don't remember. And I don't think he would have worked, because I think you have to have the real version, because it's just the way he is. It's his mannerisms, it's his movements, it's everything like that that makes him who he is. So I think having him actually on the game is the perfect thing, and who knows, he could have a very successful debut here. And here he is making his first appearance in SWE NXT as well. It is going to be Ricochet. It's not a bad core, is it, to be honest? I don't know, it might just be me. I feel like it could be slightly... Oh, God, they haven't fixed capes this year, have they? I feel like it could be slightly better, I think, the face, but it's not bad at all when you think about it. It'll do us until we get the DLC, which probably won't be released till Christmas, to be honest with you. But, again, Ricochet is somebody who's involved in more or less every single SWE roster. And here he is here, looking to get a winning start. He is a champion in majority of the brands he's ever been in. Will he be a champion here in SWE NXT as well? And arguably somebody who should have been involved in the NXT title tournament. Of course, we're going to fit 8 people in there, and I went for 8 sort of exciting people. Samoa Joe, he's here to prove that he should be one of the top names, one of the first names on every single card. And if he becomes champion here, but he'll definitely force his way into the picture. And this is what it's for then, the NXT North American Championship. Of course, held in real life at this point in time by Ricochet? I don't know, I'm sure it's Ricochet. I might be wrong though. But who's going to hold it in this game? They're called, this is the SWE NXT. Fatal 4-way underway. Straightaway Ricochet flying in with the kick, and Velveteen Dream taking Samoa Joe down. So this is my first Fatal 4-way on this game, so it'll be interesting to see if they've changed the dynamic a little bit, which looks like they have done. 2 have split to the outside, 2 have stayed on the inside. Whether that stays the same way, I'm not sure. Of course, no countouts, no disqualifications in a Fatal 4-way. I'm still very salty about the lack of an elimination match. I think that's really annoying, because I would have, as soon as I saw 8-man singles, I thought, oh my god, that's going to be a really interesting elimination match. We could do some real big matches with this one. Just throw, like, especially for a championship, just throw 8 great guys in the ring together and just see who comes out on top. And then just to find out that elimination doesn't work with singles matches is just stupid. I mean, elimination only in tag team and only in... I don't understand why they've changed it. Like, it was that way last year. Why take it out? I mean, I was so happy this year to get a 6-way singles match, a 5-way singles match. I thought, right, elimination's going to work for us here, but an 8-man match with 1 pinfall or submission to win is just not going to work. We can do an 8-man Iron Man match, which would be insane. I can't see it working, but there we go. As Velveteen, nice crossbody by Velveteen Dream, and Velveteen is demolishing Samoa Joe at this point in time. So remember, because there is no elimination, it is first pinfall or submission will win this match. But of course, only inside the ring counts. So at the moment, both Ricochet and Kyle O'Reilly not much chance of getting the win at this point in time, being outside the ring, as Samoa Joe rolls to the outside, trying to get away from Velveteen, then slides back in. And Velveteen was too busy posing for the crowd and got caught there with that Saito suplex. And now the one thing Velveteen does not want is a pissed off Samoa Joe stamping on his guts. But unfortunately, that's what Velveteen Dream has got. Kyle O'Reilly in control of Ricochet on the outside. I'm a big fan of Kyle O'Reilly. I think I might have mentioned the story before. It's quite cool because I've seen these 2 events, and I think one of the very first indie DVDs I ever got was a Dragon Gate USA event, and it was Daniel Bryan's last run on the independent scene before his 2nd run in WWE. And he came out, he had one last match. I think it might have been against Naruki Doi. No, it wasn't, no. I can't remember who he faced off. It might have been Cien, actually. But Daniel Bryan had an amazing match. He won the match. And then he got on the mic and said, look, I know everyone knows that I'm leaving. I'm moving on to bigger and better things. But he said the indie scene is just going to get stronger and stronger. And he said, I'm officially leaving the indie scene under the control of Davey Richards, and essentially just passed the torch from himself to Davey Richards. Now, a few years later, I was watching a PWG DVD before Richards and Edwards went to TNA, before TNA were doing open contracts. And Davey Richards did the same thing. He had a match, tag team match, got on the mic after the match and said, look, I'm leaving the indie scene. I know people are going to miss me, but I'm leaving the indie scene in stronger hands than my own. And he said he's leaving it to Kyle O'Reilly. So it was Kyle O'Reilly was sort of the step down. Kyle O'Reilly is essentially Daniel Bryan's grandson. That's how I'm calling it. That's how I'm doing it. Because I think Kyle O'Reilly used to live and train with Davey Richards for a period of time. And for those who don't know, Kyle O'Reilly was actually part of a tag team with Adam Cole for a long period of time as well, called Future Shock, which is pretty cool. But there you go, that's how it all works. And Kyle O'Reilly now locking in the armbar here on Ricochet. And if Ricochet taps it, Kyle O'Reilly will be the first SWE North American champion. Ricochet just can't seem to get a hold of that bottom rope, and I think Ricochet has managed to break free. O'Reilly must have thought he had the championship then in his hands, as Velveteen now launches Ricochet to the outside. O'Reilly looking for some sort of belly-to-belly suplex with Samoa Joe, but I think O'Reilly might struggle to lift the weight. Joe's quite a hench member. Joe now with the, oh, nice slam. Almost like a much more aggressive version of a rock bottom. And Velveteen taking down Ricochet, and all of a sudden it's Joe and Velveteen on their feet. And Velveteen trying to ignore Joe and trying to sort of say, look, let's just continue beating these two down. And Joe sort of agreed with that after a while as Velveteen launches Ricochet to the outside, then breaks up the pin where Joe is. And still Velveteen just ignoring Joe and trying to go after Kyle O'Reilly. And that's backfired now as Joe catches him with the Dragon Suplex. And referee's still down. He's still grounded. The problem is here is Joe stalking Velveteen. Now Joe locking in the Coquina clutch, but the referee's down. So even if Velveteen taps here, I think Joe's broken it because he noticed that, oh, the referee's back up now. Okay. Well, that's weird. The referee got kicked. He must be given the kick of life there by Kyle O'Reilly because the referee was going down again and O'Reilly kicked him again and he seemed to get back up again. Nice leg drop there by Velveteen. Now brings Joe back up to his feet now, looking for the backbreaker. Lovely. A boot right in the face of Samoa Joe. And now dropping an elbow in the back of his head as well. All of a sudden Velveteen once again in full control of Joe. And then I spoke too soon. And Joe dropping Velveteen face first. And Joe just screaming at the ground of Velveteen now as slowly gets back up to his feet. Joe misses the clothesline, but Velveteen catches his leg and just drops a knee into that leg. And Joe fighting back as well as... Oh, wow! Kyle O'Reilly just launched Ricochet at the ring post. That was brutal. Don't know how Ricochet hasn't broken a rib there. Joe with the alley-oop in the middle of the ring. Velveteen still down, and Joe once again is launching Velveteen across the ring. And Velveteen very smartly rolls to the outside as Kyle O'Reilly and Ricochet still battling away on the outside. Such back and forth between those two. And Samoa Joe turned his attentions to Ricochet, and Velveteen just caught Joe unawares and dropped him face first on the top. And now Velveteen in with a Russian leg sweep on the outside as well. And Kyle O'Reilly just rightfully just decides to just get away for a while and let everyone else do damage to each other. Oh, Ricochet just hurricaned Kyle O'Reilly face first into the advertising hoardings there on the edge of the ring. Joe with a boot in the gut of O'Reilly, then sweeped him. Ricochet now on the apron. Went for springboard hurricanrana, something along them sort of lines, but completely missed it. Nice dragon screw there by Ricochet on Velveteen. Kyle O'Reilly coming back out to the outside, and this is the battle here. Kyle O'Reilly versus Samoa Joe. This is going to be brutal between these two. Both very, very good submission wrestlers as well. Joe dragging O'Reilly, dropping him off. Chest first. Ricochet here dropping Velveteen flat in his face. Joe just comes plowing through and flattens the pair of them. Double foot stomp by Ricochet, and he fell straight into a clothesline by Samoa Joe, who's now kicking and beating and destroying Ricochet whichever way he can. Ricochet's back up. There's a forearm in the face of Joe. Which one of these four guys is going to take their opportunities and walk away here North American champion? Kyle O'Reilly now stalking Samoa Joe. Joe just pushed O'Reilly over, then Ricochet comes flying in with a missile dropkick. And now it's Ricochet and O'Reilly. O'Reilly dropping the boots. The back of the leg of Ricochet. Ricochet fighting back with a boot in the leg of O'Reilly of his own. There he goes. The suplex. Keeps the grip, rolls the hip. Looking for the second. Keeps the grip, rolls the hip. Looking for a trifecta of vertical suplexes. And look where he's been left. And perfectly for Velveteen's elbow. Velveteen just dived over the top of both Joe and Ricochet to hit that fantastic elbow. That was a great spot, that was. Ricochet, we've seen this combination. Suplexes. It's Velveteen and Ricochet now. Ricochet with a DDT on Velveteen straight into the pin. Could this be Ricochet's chance to walk away champion? It bloody well is as well. Wow. What a match and what a finish. I think so far our best match on WWE 2K19 thus far. And Ricochet is your first SWE North American champion here in SWE NXT. What a match. I really enjoyed this one actually. Four guys all at the top of their game, showcasing. That was one of the best spots for me, that was. I think that Velveteen's elbow over the top of both Joe and Kyle O'Reilly, I think, was fantastic. But Ricochet, he just wins gold in every single brand he's in, doesn't he? What is he? Former Cruiserweight Champion in Adrenaline, former Junior Heavyweight Champion in Octane, former Junior Heavyweight Champion. What was that? I frightened the life of me then. Former Junior Heavyweight Champion in SWE Rising as well. The man just wins gold everywhere, and he's continued off here in SWE NXT. So guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, then please do hit a like and of course subscribe if you want to see some more. We'll be back tomorrow for the 2 semi-finals of the NXT Title Tournament. Of course, Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. Nope. Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn and Johnny Gargano versus Kevin Owens. And also in the next episode, we'll crown the first NXT SWE Women's Champion. I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.